Well, I've decided to build a lumber camp in Jimenez Forest so that the people can get those great ponderosa logs. This is the road, soon to be railroad track that leads back to the oasis, and from there back to our spawn point and the jungle tree house and all that. Little footbridge. I'll be explaining things as we go. In order to take care of the timbers, to turn them into lumber and so on, we need a sawmill. So I built a water wheel, which is the energy that will operate the saw to cut the logs and then to process them into planks and so on. So that's our water wheel house, sawmill house. I submerged pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns underneath to keep the ice melted, broke the ice, laid down gravel to 2 blocks from the surface, and then set the pumpkins on top of the gravel under the surface. There's the side of it. Back in the back is the logs are brought in. This is the tree farm right here. I find the trees grow faster if there's a jack-o'-lantern placed next to the saplings. So in the back is where the logs are brought in. It's not a high-tech operation. This is the Jimenez community is old, and it's basically extended families and so on. They don't need a lot of high-tech. This camp only operates in the summer when it's warmer. This is where the logs are brought in downstairs to be processed. So they don't need a lot of high-tech gadgets. They don't produce much lumber, just as much as they need for the year, and it's a sustainable project. They use the tree farming rather than clear-cutting the forests and destroying all the trees. I set jack-o'-lanterns in the ground so I can find the gates. It's difficult for me to discern gates from regular fence posts. There's a little shed for the sheep, and the sheep and chickens do go in there. If you look on the wiki, animals travel in certain directions depending on the animals, and they're attracted to certain directions, and I just got lucky, and the sheep tend to go in there. There's snow on the ground because I put a snow golem in here, but the snow golem did something magical. I'll show you in a while. There's the main timber that operates the saw, and it leads to this vertical timber that goes down below where the saw is. Not much up here. Don't want too much clutter because you're bringing logs in and out. This is a small mine. I'm sure if I dug it out more, it would go to a larger mine I found elsewhere. See, this is the story, how you bring them in from below. Here's some logs stored to be processed. Some cut logs. Here's the saw. See, the main timber comes down into the basement, and that's to represent the mechanical stuff, the fencing and so on. And the iron gate is to represent the saw. Unfortunately, it sticks to the wood, but what are you going to do? There's some pre-cut logs that are going to be processed into planks, and I'll develop some sort of a device. I still have some iron bars and stuff left. I'll develop some sort of a device that looks like it's cutting the raw logs into timber. That leads out to the water wheel. This leads back to the, and I'm going to show you the residential quarters. People come up during the summer when it's not so cold, presumably. Chickens decided that they wanted to live in the tree nursery, and I'm like, that's cool because I can just walk by and collect the eggs. I don't think they'd be very easy to kill. People have decided what tasks they want to be responsible for. These people are responsible for gathering eggs, breeding chickens, slaughtering chickens, collecting the meat, the feathers, the eggs, so on. This person decided they wanted to be responsible for gathering the wool, and they have wool and shears in their chest. Makes it very easy for me to find stuff when I decide there's a task I want to do. There should be signs on every door, but I got busy doing other stuff. So the mining operation doesn't have a sign, but they will. So far, we just discovered a mine. We didn't know we had one, a very good mine. But in there, and everybody has 8 pieces of coal and a furnace because it's so cold. These people also have a little deck that looks out on the extreme hills biome. We're very fortunate to be right in the cross section between a snow biome and extreme hills because that gives us the potential for emeralds. I didn't like the view they had, so I put up another half slab. I've heard that mobs can't spawn on half slabs, so I've used them extensively throughout this project. I've also lit the tops just for extra assurance that we won't get swarmed when I turn the cooties on. So eventually these are going to have testificates in them when I can find a village. Uh, Everything is lined in wool, floors, walls, ceilings, because it's extremely cold here. Even in the summer, it's very chilly. Now, of course, in Minecraft, seasons don't change. I wish they did. In here, we keep the most precious things to keep them from being exploded. I think that might also be a room for magic and possibly for armor and weapons as we need them. I'm not sure. There are children here. I haven't really designated one specific location for children, but there are children that are going to be living here. And their needs have to be accommodated. People come up here for the summer. They bring their children. They bring their pets sometimes if they have them. Dogs are very useful here because there are wild dogs outside. That's why I gathered up sheep as quickly as I could and brought them in so I'd have a eternal source of wool. This is the tree nursery. Little bit of chopping trees, but mostly farming saplings so that we have an eternal supply of saplings. And this is the people who are responsible for the greenhouse. You can't grow crops outdoors in the snow biome. They must be protected. They must have a lot of heat and light. And it helps if they have glass and so on over them to keep the snow off. It's a small garden. They bring a lot of their stuff and they don't stay most of them don't stay all year. Some people stay annually. But they don't need a huge garden. It makes it a little hard on me, though, gathering pumpkins. I have to be pretty efficient. Now, here's the snow golem I put in the kitchen, but here's the mystery. The snow golem I put in the sawmill has come into the kitchen. There's the sinks, the stoves, the dining table, and a bench. So the snow golems are keeping each other company. I don't know how the other snow golem got in. I've tried and tried and tried to figure it out by doing it myself. The reason I ended up with a snow golem in the kitchen was I made this 3-piece refrigerator, tried to put a pumpkin on top, heard a popping sound as the button popped off, and part of my refrigerator turned into a golem. That's the only piece of art in here in the community area, something cheerful and happy and celebratory. I want these people to know that they're loved and this is a cozy and happy place to be. Here's a playground for the children with a sandbox, a jungle gym. That could either be a slide or a climbing thing, the little half slabs, and a table for, craft projects, arts and craft projects, and just hanging out. I may put some little half slabs of wood down there so that they have little stools to sit on. Here's the tree farm. It's very productive. Again, I really suggest the jack-o'-lanterns under the trees. It really seems to help with their generation rate. I'm not sure. I can't prove this yet. I didn't look it up on the wiki. You see that hole right there? I'm thinking I will put an ice fishing house out here on the ice. Extend the fence so the testificates can fish. I've got everything fenced in so the testificates can't get away, but they can open and close doors at will and run around freely. But I'm a little concerned because if that snow golem got out, then maybe the testificates can too, but I swear I can't find that space. Ice freezes and thaws, but it's enough to operate the water wheel for the lumber mill. Little footpath, and this, I kept hearing cave sounds under the water, and bats. So I thought, well, what the heck, I'll start digging. Occasionally, this glassed-in area, you can see squid swimming there. So that's fun for the kids. They can come down and have sort of an aquarium kind of deal. The kids are only allowed to go down so far, and then right about here I'm going to put a fence so the kids can't go any further because it becomes dangerous. I went down to, I think it was level 15 maybe. I actually used the F3 function, which I seldom do. Ran out of jack-o'-lantern, so this hallway is way too dark. I was going to start branch mining, and right about where I'm pointing now, I found an emerald. So I haven't dug all this out yet. It was behind gravel. Always look behind gravel, especially around lava pools, because that's often where the goodies are hidden. But here I heard bats and cave sounds. 1 block deep, I opened it up. That strip right there is actually a mine shaft. There's my friend the bat who told me about it. And I've cleared everything out of this section, but I've just begun starting, and then Bandicam ran out, so you couldn't see the mine shaft, but there it is. So that's our lumber mill in the Jemez Forest. Thanks for watching.